Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and the whole world. This is your mastermind coach, Bakar Obey, here with the Seer Mastermind Group on the Seer Mastermind Show. Our story, our journey, our way with our co hosts and co founders, Mr. Maurice Bay, the helpful trucker. What's going on, bro?
How are you, sir?
Outstanding, outstanding. And of course, your financial conductor, our sister, Majida Bay. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Fabulous.
Oh, outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. Well, listen, for those who don't know, the Seer Mastermind Group is a community of creative entrepreneurs working together to support, encourage, hold each other accountable, and recognize your achievements along the journey. And so, if you're interested, definitely go to Facebook and check out Seer Mastermind Group, as well as Maurice's channel, The Helpful Trucker, and Majida at MajidaBay.com. You can also find me at Habit to Greatness on all platforms, as well as Bobey World, BOBEY_world. All right. So tonight, as we always do, I like to introduce your hosts. We like to start with some wins and celebrate and recognize what's been happening since we were last together on the call. Lots been going on the month of June. So talk to me.
I'm not celebrating wins tonight.
Oh,
I'm messing both of y'all up.
Oh, what's happening?
Doing this just to be controversial. That's all.
oh.
Not celebrating no wins tonight. Yo, I'm serious though, man. I was thinking earlier today, and I want both of y'all to celebrate y'all wins, and I do have wins that I could celebrate. But I was thinking now, I'm like, man, you know what? I don't need to smell the roses every week. And I don't want either one of y'all to feel any kind of way about that. I don't want nobody to feel. I don't know. I don't want you to feel like you got to come back and explain why you want to smell your roses. Go ahead, you know what I mean? Smell the roses every day if you want to. But this type of person I am, man, I don't need to smell the roses every week, man. For real, I ain't even thinking about that right now. I've been grinding. Here's what I will speak on. I can speak on some stuff that I'm grateful for. I can do that because I've been I really have been in a grateful mood like lately overall, man. Like let's give it up for feeling better. Like seriously, like I feel better. You know what I mean? I was really thinking about that earlier today, man. I had a day off, and whenever I do have a day off, I feel like because I just feel like I'm like it feels like I'm in a cocoon, you know what I mean, with my head down at work. And so when I do come up for air sometimes and mingle with the real world, the regular world, that's kind of how I see it in my own mind, you know what I mean? And I had a chance to do that today, Tuesday. I mean, my truck was in the shop, so I just got a chance just to go around and ride around town and take care of some stuff. Not ride around town, but take care of some stuff. And in taking care of some stuff, I'm riding around town and obviously just thinking and just imagining, just remembering where I was a year ago, just remembering where I was and how I was feeling in regards to things six months ago. You know what I mean? I definitely feel a whole lot more in control. If y'all remember, I mean, one of the feelings that I've been trying to work on in my journey is feeling more secure in the world in general. I've spoke on that before, you know what I mean? Just feeling like I have more control over my life. So some of the steps that I've taken in the last several months have allowed me to feel more in control of my life, bottom line, you know what I mean? So that's just the simplest way I can put it, you know. And it definitely does feel good. It just feels good. And I got a chance to kind of just bask around in that Tuesday as I was riding around, just taking care of business and just loving how people interact with me. You know what I'm saying? It was just cool. You know what I mean? It was just cool. You know what I mean? That's real. I can't even put it no way other than that. Just grateful just for, I'm trying to give it some specifics. I can't even really give it any specifics, man. Just grateful for the feeling. You know what I mean? Just feeling good. Just feeling good and loving it. Yeah. Just feeling good, feeling freer, feeling better, feeling more in control, feeling more secure. You know what I mean? All that good stuff. Feeling more abundant, feeling like I'm on the path, feeling like I'm on the way, feeling like I'm on the journey, enjoying what I have. That's a kid. That was a big one for me that I thought about this week. Like I want what I have.
Ooh.
Think about that one. Like, I want what I have.
Oh man.
Now, a person could say, well, are you saying you got everything you want? I don't know if I can word it like that, but I can say that I want what I have. So I don't, some people I feel don't want what they have. It ain't even what you have. Some people, they you might have everything, but if you want a bunch of stuff that you don't have, you know what I mean? I mean, nothing wrong with that, to each his own, but I've thought about my situation. I'm like, I want everything that I have. So that feel good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Feeling good. I'm feeling good, working hard, grinding it out, and loving it.
Love it, bro. Love it, man. That's a nice little spin on the wins.
I ain't celebrating no wins this week. Ain't celebrating no wins this week. I don't need to smell the roses. Let's go to work.
You just celebrated gratitude.
100%. 100%. You gotta celebrate gratitude. You gotta celebrate feeling good. You got to, So.
Awesome. And those who don't know, again, this is the Seer Mastermind group, our Seer Mastermind show, sharing our story, our journey, our way. Tonight, we actually gonna touch on that. When you're talking about feeling good and enjoying what you have, as we get into a conversation about what are you building on and your foundations, right? So it's been a amazing year, I think, for us and for all of us. But we'll get to Majida next. Majida, let's talk about it. What are you celebrating over the last couple of weeks?
What am I celebrating? Somebody sent me a meme. My cousin, actually, in Jamaica, she lives there more than she lives in the States. But she sent me a meme today that I think reflects what I'm celebrating. And it is... Mommy. Yes? Okay. It says, trusting in God's plan. Leave room for God to send you on detours because the blessings may come on the paths that you didn't expect to take. So she shared that with me today. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in that mood. That's how I'm feeling. I'm celebrating the detours that got me where I am and recognizing and appreciating where I am, what I have, and what I am working towards, who I'm becoming in the process. I think for me is always an important. What is that background? I don't know which one of y'all it is, but it's a lot. Is that me?
I don't hear any background noise.
It's not me. I hear
it as well, but I'm muted out right now.
So it's got to be Bakar. But anyway,
he's not doing anything.
So that's what I would say. There, see, it's gone. It's gone. Whatever you just did, it's gone.
Did that bring it back?
There it is again.
Yeah. Maybe we just hear it. Maybe the audience won't hear it. But so yeah, that's what I would say. I'm celebrating. Mommy. What? Yes. What? Mommy. Yes. Oh boy, here she go. Hi.
Hi, baby.
I don't know if she can hear you. Can you hear him? No.
That's my niece. She loves talking on the show.
Mm-hmm. They love interrupting me when I'm doing stuff. That's what that's.
They just want to be a part of it.
So I think I'm also celebrating like slowing down my pace. Like I'm really embracing moving at. I read. Yes, that's red. Moving at the pace that I'm supposed to move at, not trying to run at somebody else's pace or run somebody else's race. Like I'm just embracing my steady pace. I think that's worked for me, and it'll continue to work for me. So just being me, I guess I could say I'm celebrating that. Just being me, unapologetically and authentically.
Love it, love it, love it. I love it. We're definitely going to build on this conversation with you all today. So, as you all know, hey, I am Coach Carl Bay, and if you want to hear my wins, you got to hang around to the end of the call. I love it. But one thing I will share, one thing I am enjoying
What is that all about? What is that all about?
We just want to keep them tuned in.
Okay.
Whether you team Maurice, team Majida, team Bakar, team us all, right? I want to encourage you. You got to hang on to the end to get those wins. See it all the way through. All right. That's one of my wins, right? Being able to see it all the way through. But now one thing I do want to celebrate is the end of the school year for those who are teachers, educators. Congratulations to you for making it through probably one of the most challenging years in our history when it comes to education. And I'm excited. I'm thrilled. You know, yesterday was the last day of school, and I'm just ready to hit the road. You know, got a lot of things, a lot of projects coming up, a lot of new responsibilities, new challenges, new people, you know, that I'm working with, and I'm just excited, just absolutely excited for what's coming. Shameless plug. Hey, July 5th through 9th, 5th to 11th, really, launching my Lifestyle Mastery Masterclass as a lead into Lifestyle Mastery Program, which is a 12-week program that'll, you know, teach people about why to design their life instead of letting life just happen to them by chance. So I'm excited about kicking that off. So it's a lot of work. Like you said, Maurice, a lot of work to get done. But I'm looking forward to having and reclaiming my time the rest of this month and the summer and potentially the rest of my life to be able to do the things that I love and enjoy when it comes to service. So this week, I had a chance to be introduced to, I want to get his name right. I need to find it just a second. There's a bio. What's his name? I'm gonna look it up. You got a question? Go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, kind of I guess something I was thinking about and something I was listening to in a YouTube video, and I mean we can still get into the discussion definitely. And I guess kind of piggybacking on what you just now said about the teachers, you know, and all of the different opportunities, I guess, not opportunities, I guess, but the different things that you got going on. And I guess thinking about Majida's business as well. How are you guys? I was listening to, I was in Clubhouse this week. I was in Clubhouse this week, and I was listening to a guy. He was asking about the weird feeling that he's getting now that he is back integrating back to face-to-face interactions. And I thought about y'all two. I thought about y'all two specifically. And I'm like, I was just wondering about that. Just kind of hearing everything that you were saying, you know, the school year is over, tough school year. People are starting to come out of lockdown, not just lawfully, but also mentally as well. Like, and I say mentally because I'm a driver. So like every weekend on 64 is packed. So I know what the deal is. I know where people is like, dang, people is back out here. I liked it better in the middle of the pandemic when nobody was on the road, I promise you. And I'm seeing that every weekend now. So I was just like, you know, for people, I would imagine that there is, it's in certain businesses in certain industries. And if you got a job, you know, Majida, I was listening to something on the news today talking about, I can't remember what company it was, but he was like, I expect my people to be back in the building by Labor Day. I expect them to be back at the office, you know what I mean, full time. So expectations of face-to-face interactions are getting high again, right? We all got off for a while because it was like, nah, we don't want to see you nowhere but on the computer. Now it's like people expecting it, or it feels like there's an air of expectancy to people want to get back out again. And I mean, like, how y'all feeling about that? You know, just one more thing before I let y'all answer. You know, I haven't switched over too much because of the pandemic, but one thing that has switched that now that the pandemic is over, I don't think we're going back. It's homeschooling. We're thinking about it more now. We started homeschooling because of the pandemic. And it's like now that there's an air of expectancy for the children to start actually coming back to school, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are we going to deal with this going forward? Are we going to continue with homeschooling them or what? But I mean, like I said, that's just homeschool. But I would, if you got clients may expect people to start showing up again, or expect start actually face to face with people again. Jobs, your business job may want you at the job again, So what's y'all thoughts on that? How y'all dealing with that? Are y'all, have you gotten in front of somebody recently and hadn't done it in a while and was nervous as heck when you did it because it felt weird? Or either one of y'all that want to speak to that?
Well, I actually had a client appointment today, and it was in person. Somebody who found me in a Facebook group. I talked with her last week, built some rapport, kind of did a intake call, if you will, and then we scheduled to meet today. And I went to their home out in South Chesterfield, met with her and her husband, and spent a couple hours with her.
First one in a while?
Yeah.
Did it feel weird?
But no. Won't nobody like tripping about masks and nothing like that. That family in particular, they homeschooled their children, as a result of this past year, and they're planning to continue to do the same. So I think it's just preference. If people want me to meet them in person, I'm more than willing to. It definitely saves me time meeting them virtually.
Of course.
So, but I have both options. When people schedule an appointment, they can talk to me on the phone, they can hop on the Zoom, or we can meet in person. So
I cannot imagine going back. Like I've been away from people. I mean, I'm driving a truck, so I'm away from people all the time anyway. But like right now, if you put me back, if I had to switch my environment right now and I'm back around people, I'm uncomfortable. You said it wasn't no big deal to you. I'm uncomfortable. I'm in somebody's living room. I'm so uncomfortable.
So, Bakar and I are regularly on an accountability call every morning, and it's like 20, 30 people on that every morning. So, as a virtual engagement, so I'm always engaging with people to some extent. But one thing that I recognized about myself over this past year is that I don't prefer to be around people more than I prefer to be by myself. So I'm actually learning how to manage that even more. Like I can do like 1 or 2 appointments a day or 1 or 2 calls a day, but like yesterday I had a day where like my phone was constantly ringing and constantly, and I'm like, I can't do that. I just I have to allocate blocks of time to engage with people. I can't do it all day long because I physically. Yeah. You hurt your arm. No. I have to set those boundaries. Otherwise, I physically get affected.
The way I have you.
Hey, baby.
Hey, Nzinga. How are you, Nzinga?
She doesn't plan her segments, huh?
We're talking to you.
Okay, no, you don't play your segments. You just interrupt mommy.
I play fire truck.
Oh yeah?
Play the fire truck. The fire truck. All right. Uh-oh. We got what? Oh, okay. Okay, go play with your fire truck. So yeah, I think that was one of the things that one of the lessons I learned this year through both the social distancing and just personal development, that I have to manage my energy around other people and not let them. So to that point, I have 2 days out of the week that I allocated specifically for my finance business. And it's, like 4 or 5 hour blocks of time on those 2 days that I'm willing. So I can't do more than 3 or 4 of those a day. Like engaging with people, asking lunch questions, because it drains me. And then I leave from that appointment, I gotta interact and engage with my children the rest of the afternoon, evening, or vice versa. I'm with my children in the morning, or at the job in the morning, and then like I can't engage with people all day long every day. It drains my energy, so I have to manage that better. And now that I'm aware of it, I can do something about it. I think too often, people are unaware of it, so they go back to the norm, and they don't realize how it affects their stress or their temperament or whatever. Right? Like I'm aware of it now, so it's like no going back. If I gotta just take pause, take a nap, get away, that's what I do. So okay, go. You can go.
Carl, you want to speak to that? You got
Yes,
anything to
yes,
say there?
actually. Man, let me tell you, I can't go back. I cannot go back. I'm not going back. They have taken all of the shackles and the chains. This past year has really just allowed me to grow into me, to show up authentically in every space, whether virtual or in person, as me. And I cannot see conceding that for anything. Like it's freedom. It's truly freedom for me.
That's kind of what this question was about, kind of. Yeah.
And it does feed into what we're talking about tonight as far as what are you building on, right? The first 35 years of my life, 34 years of my life, I realized, man, I was building on somebody else's design. I was building on society's design from, decades ago. I was building on my community and family's design, which is decades ago. And not saying that there isn't value in those pieces. However, me, I live in a unique time with unique set of skills and a unique mind with unique people all around me and unique opportunities that we've never seen before in the history of mankind. That we have a level of agency and freedom and opportunity that none of our predecessors have really could sniff, could even imagine. Like it was literally a gene.
I would agree with that. Some people can't see that, but I would totally agree with that.
And what we're capable of doing as far as being ourselves and blossoming as ourselves, showing the world the best of us, and not just the highlights, right? I mean, like showing our humanity every day. Me being able to show up in a t-shirt, a cap, and people saying, I don't care what you look like anymore. And that was one of the biggest struggles, right? Is showing up in public with a certain persona that people were expecting you to put on, right? The whole professional illusion, right? Which was supposed to stand for some sort of, I don't know, moral, ethical accountability or standard. Like, well, if you look a certain way, you feel a certain way, you'll perform a certain way. But oftentimes it was a mask, it was a veil. It was you conforming to something that wasn't authentic or true to you, right? And that's not for everybody, right? Like I am not trying to take shots at the professional communities. Right? You will see me on ads and things that I put out in a suit because some people are just going to look at it and perceive you differently. But when they get to know me, when they show up, when they see my success from here forward, it's going to be me showing up as me. It's going to be me growing my locks back. It's going to be me, surrounded by friends and family. It's going to be me with a close circle of people who understand me, my mission, my purpose, and what I do daily to help and serve others. And nothing else really matters beyond that, right? I've got love for all people and all humanity. So if you don't see that, that's your loss. I don't see going back to putting on a mask. I don't see going back to being in a space with a freedom that I've developed over last year. Like I'm conceding any of that. So great question there. And that's the new foundation. That's the new brick. That's, those are the cinder blocks. That's what we poured, Majida. That's what we poured in this last year. A foundation that not only myself though, but generations and generations going forward could also stand on.
And I guess for me, man, listening to both of y'all, it's weird because like nothing changed for me. Nothing changed for me. When I say nothing changed for me, like I was working before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and now that we coming out of the pandemic, like, you know what I mean? Nothing really changed for me. Social distancing didn't increase or decrease. Nothing. That's what I mean when I say nothing. Nothing really changed for me. So, as far as going back, I can't relate to that. Just it's simply because it just, I guess it's just not applicable in my situation. You know what I mean? But that's why I thought about y'all though. I thought about the people that have had to or wanted to make major shifts dealing with this online stuff in the last year because situations. And then, like I said, like now, like it seems, I was just thinking, I'm like, seems like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, okay, like, get your ass back in the building now, get your ass back to work now. And I guess, you know, it's like, okay, all right, like, okay, I'm not going back. I get you. Okay, that's what's up.
So I'm seeing, and I've been reading a lot about these recently. When we talk about foundations, right? The old world, as I'm gonna call it, right? The old world that we used to live in, where you had to show up for your minimum wage job, and you know you were treated like crap. Those people aren't going back. That places like that are struggling to find help.
I can't remember the name. I wish I could recall the name of the company. It's a pretty big business or company or corporation. I cannot remember, but the CEO, yeah, somebody caught him in an interview and he was like, yeah, I expect my people to be back in the building by Labor Day. And if not, like, he didn't say if not what, but he was just like, if not, he was like, I would expect my people to be back by Labor Day. If not, the conversation is going to have to change, you know? And I just thought I'm like, okay, the expectancy is coming. It's like, all right, the pandemic is over. Come on back to work. Like I said, or if you servicing clients or whatever it is, it just seems that I was listening to Cat Williams the other day talk about getting back out performing in venues now because the last year comedians haven't been performing. So I kind of been hearing this in a lot of different aspects, this thing of having to get back out there again, per se, you know, come from behind the computer and get back out there. So, you know, I was just wondering how people that have had to go behind the computer, I haven't had to. I was already making YouTube videos, and like I said, I drive a truck, but for people like y'all that have kind of like, okay, I gotta go behind the computer, and I got to, but you get what I'm saying. It's like now that thing that caused that to happen, it seems to be going away. You gonna keep the habits, you know what I mean? Or you gonna like, yo, I'm going back. I'm going back to that. I got to get back to that again. Forget all this internet stuff. I don't really want to do this. I was just wondering y'all's perspective on that.
No,
I think given that most of my work is remote, being that I can do it anywhere, I was already somewhat. What?
Get on here and don't do nothing. You want to listen to us for real. She really just want to tune into the conversation.
I like it, Tim.
Get your mommy's phone and get on Facebook and you can listen to our conversation.
Okay.
Put the baby on the iPad.
So yeah, for me, like there has been, you know, certain, what do you call it? Directives to, you know, work 50% of the time in the office and you can work 50% of your time at home.
Have they started coming with that?
Yeah. They issued that I don't know, a couple months ago.
Okay.
Slow to respond. So I'm like, I'm just not in a position where I need somebody to dictate where I have to be at any given moment. I'll get the work done. Where I get it done is irrelevant, you know? That's my stance. And
we know your stance. We know your stance. Okay. All right.
And so I think it's going to be, you know, two schools of thought, if you will. You know, there's going to be, you know, the traditional corporate company that says, you know,
come back.
You got to And there'll
Then there's
be
going to be the strong people in the workforce like yourself that are like, yo, listen, if you really want to keep us around, like, what's the purpose? Like, work with us. We don't need to do that. We're trying to make you more productive and keep our time as well. You know what I mean? Like, why are you making us follow stupid rules that don't matter anymore?
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah,
I can see that clash coming. That I hadn't thought about that, but I can totally see that.
Well, so the companies I think that will thrive are the ones who will be
that will adapt to that. 100%. Makes total sense.
You give people, you let all of your people out on vacation for a year and say you can live anywhere, work from anywhere, and do the work on your time. It's just like, so all of we were doing before, we didn't really need. Like we have the technology to be able to do a lot of that. Now, granted, there's certain jobs, brick and mortar is definitely not dead, right? Like I went to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts the other week, and going into a gallery experience is not something that you could experience equally online.
Can't replace that.
Yeah, the arts. It's time for the arts to really turn up and thrive and become a huge public draw, right? Sports will come back, and concerts and other events, right, will definitely come back. But man, I could do that. It's not something that you can experience equally. There you go.
She took my advice.
Perception is reality.
That's all she wanted. Now she's in on the conversation. Hey, Nzinga, we're talking to you. We're talking to you. All right. But just realizing, man, brick and mortar hasn't died, but the foundations have shifted, right? Around lifestyle. Like, man, I could spend time with my family. I could be part of my children's education. If you're not offering that moving forward, it's like, I don't know if I actually want to work there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to go find somebody who's willing to work with what I'm looking for. I mean, I just got to offer
at least these new norms.
At least
these are norms though, but they're new norms. 100%. Like, really, like, come in for what? For what?
But
I'm leaving home to get on a different computer in front of a different desk.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna get real. Like, all right. So one thing I do recognize, again, being in the school system and not really being around the professional community, I think that is going to be a draw to bring people back into the building, because some people just miss being around others like themselves to exchange ideas. Like, I went a whole school year and I did not get to know the teachers in that school. Not because I wasn't capable. Yes, we had weekly meetings and things like that, but it was just like there weren't those organic, interactions. Like just walking around and, hey, who's in this room on this hall with this? Okay, we have this students. Now, granted, I was also in an isolated classroom, so in a self-contained classroom as well. So I didn't have interactions with other teachers. And like, it was literally me, my co-teacher, and a couple others that came in to assist with our students. And that was it. Like, I was literally in a vacuum in my teaching experience. So for me, that worked to a degree, because I knew kind of where I was moving and transitioning. Yes, I'm going to stay in education, but I want to create courses on the university level to be able to teach what I'm teaching now. And I don't necessarily need to be in the classroom. I can get on a call just like this with other professionals. I can build relationships. I can go to conferences, meet strangers who have whose values, whose goals, whose ambitions are aligned with mine, because they're specifically in a place where we're looking for the same things, and I could build great relationships, right? I've got 6 other people that I'm working with in my business that I did not know before this year, except for one. And even I met at a conference, or through my sister, who met him at a conference. So it's like, okay, maybe I got to go pay to find the people that I'm looking for, or be a part of professional organizations. But it's giving me a lot more exposure than maybe showing up in the same school, with the same classroom, with the same people every year, and that being my only circle.
Yeah.
And I say there is a value to that because I definitely met some great people in those spaces and would love to be able to further develop and build relationships with them. But just being able to go into a space where you know that people already have similar interests, similar ambitions, are moving in a similar direction in similar ways that you are, to me, the exchange, I don't know, it's invaluable. It's invaluable to sacrifice again. So I'm definitely team remote, team stay at home, team bump the job. No, just no, man. But I do believe that the foundations of our society have definitely been shifted for a new generation. I mean, like the 2000s are going to be a completely different. Like this decade is going to define a century.
Mhm.
This decade alone is going to define the rest of the century.
Uncle
You know?
Okay.
Wow.
So that kind of brings up the question:
Mommy.
what is the
Mommy.
foundation you're building on for your family, for
Mommy.
your household, for your community,
Mommy.
for
Wow.
your children?
Here,
Right? What is the foundation? What does that look like for you, Maury? So you said nothing changed for you. So that's a really interesting position to be in all of what's occurred in the last year. Nothing's
Yeah.
changed for you. That's a headline right there.
Yeah.
2021, 18 months into COVID, nothing's changed.
Overall, nothing has changed. Like I said, the main change has been children going to homeschool. But my wife has been working pretty steady, and I've been working pretty steady. I'm better off than I was before the pandemic started, 100%. So I do have a little bit of difficulty answering your question though, because I don't quite understand.
Go.
So, you know, some of the work that I do is on talk about habits and lifestyle, right? So you're sharing that my lifestyle didn't change, right? You were working in the truck, you're still working in the truck. You know, you're going out to do your runs, you're still going out to do your runs. The biggest difference is that your children have gone out of public schools into homeschooling. And you maybe touch on that shift, that change, and how that may have affected your household dynamics.
Yeah. I hope don't judge me for this. But I mean, I can speak on that change, but I can't even speak on that too much because I have a better half, or other half that kind of has overseen that. You know what I mean? So, if I was in a situation where I didn't have a wife like I did or like I do, I would probably have to be a little bit more on top of that situation than I have been. But and also not just my wife being an integral part of that, also my mother-in-law, y'all's mother, being an integral part of that. So I guess, I mean, essentially it's really a blessing to just be able to kind of just turn that, even though that's probably not the best thing for me as a father to do, but it has been a blessing to essentially just kind of turn that over to my wife. And, you know, between my wife and my mother-in-law and my mother as well,
You don't have no more toothpaste.
that mother hasn't really been pitching in that much on the homeschooling process. So that's maybe irrelevant, but they've been able to, you know, my wife and my mother-in-law have been able to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Institute that. And I've been enjoying the fruits of it. I've been supporting it, obviously. So when my son is on the truck with me, you know what I'm saying? Like we're reading signs and, you know what I'm saying, checking out different stuff, and I'm trying to enforce the things that he's learning in school. You know what I mean? But I really can't even. I don't feel like I could even speak to that too much, man. My wife been overseeing that, and my mother-in-law been the teacher. Okay. And my wife has been making sure it happens every day. She's been the one that gets them there, gets them dressed, gets them home, gets them. She's the one that handles that 90% of the time. So I guess that goes to how smart I was to pick The woman that I picked.
Hey, and those are foundations, right? those are building blocks. Those are foundation stones for your future. And you know, that's specifically the type of thing we're talking about. You know, how having the loving wife and the supportive wife that you have in there. And I know that your children are just brilliant. I'm not sure what they're contributing day to day, but I'm seeing them also when they're in school and what they're learning and how they're learning and engaging. Again, having your extended family supporting, right? That's a foundation. I know that your mother as well, you know, plays a significant role in supporting you all in your household and your dreams right now.
And my daughter, my oldest daughter.
And your oldest daughter as well. Yeah. You know, being a part of that equation. So hearing that, man, your future, your foundations are really built on family, you know, that nucleus, that unit. And also we'll come back to this on the other side of it. So like what you're building on and like what does the future look like based on what you're building on. But Majida, let's talk about your foundations. You've been doing a lot of cool stuff this year. I'm talking about trust babies.
Oh, them. Yeah.
Trust fund babies. Because you got trust fund babies now. I feel like a trust fund baby. No. I'm gonna have, you know what I mean? Let's just talk about some of the foundations. What are foundation blocks that are you putting into your family lineage?
Well, of course, primarily financial foundations, making sure that we're properly protected, and have something in place to preserve what we're building. So, yeah, that's a pretty big foundation. Family values is definitely. Oh, and the banner. You want to pan?
Thank you, man. I'll take all of them.
So yeah, family values would definitely be a foundation. So like I value my family. So I had the opportunity to spend some time with extended family about a month ago. And I'm planning in another month to go back and see some of them again in New Jersey. We got to go visit our younger brother and Elisa out in San Diego. And I'm planning a trip to Texas the end of August to attend a baby shower for a good friend of mine, a friend that I've known for probably 13, 14 years. But we've always kept in touch. We're birthday twins too. So she called me, you know, about a week ago, told me that she's having a baby. Her and her husband been married, I think she said 12 years, 13 years. And it's their first child. And, you know, we don't talk every day or even every month, but, you know, we always catch up from time to time and have always been able to maintain a solid relationship. So I was just like, yeah, I'll come to Dallas. I got more family there. So I take my girls down there, spend some time with the family, attend the baby shower. Like I'm really intentional about relationships, building meaningful relationships with people. And so I would say that's definitely a foundation. It says when you are clear about your values, it becomes easy to make decisions. And, you know, one thing that I've learned from the Breathe University community, particularly Carl Phillips, is that, you know, you got to embrace the now. You got to be present. You got to be present. Life is too short because we want too long to start living. We wait too long to start living. Yeah, I feel you on that. I definitely feel you. So yeah, I'm living, right? Like that's definitely a value, like to enjoy the life that I'm living, enjoy the moments that I have. The next moment is not promised. So do what you can with what you have. So yeah, I would say my values is a foundation, my finances is a foundation. And then planning for the future is a foundation. What? No.
And that's funny. And that's funny because just listening to Majida, you know, me and her, we be on the same page on a lot of stuff. But like, my values are in a different place. Just to throw it out there, like my values, and I've thought about your perspective on this subject before. Because I've heard you speak on this before. Like where I place my value at is in hard work. That's just not saying that it's right or it's better or anything. That's just where. So like you saying like I'm going to spend some time with my family this year. That's what I value. I ain't taking no time. I'm going to work this year, right? Because that's what I value. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's.
But okay, all right. So to that point, though, is it the work that you value, or what the work
does
provides?
for you? Yeah,
You know what? As a man, as an old, I kind of see myself as an old school man. I'm not an old school man, but
don't claim it.
I'm an old school man compared
from
to
my
the
father's
new school
generation.
to the new school dudes. Okay,
That's me.
nah, I pride myself on working hard. And it's like what the work can do for you is a separate thing. You know what I mean? I want to be compensated when I work hard, obviously, but I feel good when I work hard. Period. In the story. I think it's my there's some people call it your reptilian brain, my primitive brain. It's my old-fashioned man brain being satisfied when it feel like it's out, it's bringing home bacon, it's producing. You know what I mean? So
no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
In The Richest Man in Babylon, that's one of the stories he talks about how hard work was his best friend. You know?
Yeah.
And I definitely I'm for hard work. But I think at times, and I know I've done it in the past, I focus so much on the work that I lose sight of the goal. Right? Like the work is not the goal.
I get it.
The goal is the goal. So if the goal is to be able to spend more time with my family and I'm working and not reaching that goal, then it's for naught, you know?
Yep.
So just keeping that in focus, that like I'm working so that I can do these things. So I got to schedule and make time to do it. Like it's not going to just happen on its own. So, but no, I get you.
That's
I recall standing out side of my uncle had auction up the street 5-8 years ago, something like that. He was well off. He was a well off guy. He was a wealthy guy. And when he retired, he ran a logging operation. But when he retired, he had an auction right up the street, right where in the same lot where I parked my truck at. Sold off all of his equipment, and it was like a big thing. You know what I mean? Like my parents was like, "You should come up there." And at first, I was like, "What am I gonna come up there for? I ain't about to buy no skidder or no loader or no. I ain't buying nothing. It's just gonna be a nice event." So glad I went because, like to some other people, it might have just been, you know what it was. To me, it was just like, man, like that's one of those things that I value. Like your business, like, cause like, I mean, he auctioned off probably $500,000, maybe more worth of equipment, you know, trailers and loaders and cutters and all of his equipment. He just auctioned it all off. And it was just like, again, that's just one of those things that I personally, value, but I get it that other people value other things. I mean, you know, like that determines who you are, where you place your value. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do, man. I value hard work. I feel good when I work hard. I don't feel good when I don't work hard. I don't feel good when things are given to me. I don't feel good when I don't feel like I've earned. You know what I'm saying? When I take a day off, right now, I guess that's one reason why I feel so good when I take a day off, like Tuesday, because I feel like I earned it. I really, really feel like I earned this. You know what I mean? So anyway, man.
No, that's great. And it's interesting you point that out, because I would say one of the things that I've been able to shift into is like living a life of purpose, right? And knowing that there's work that goes into purpose. They say faith without works is dead, right? And man, I'm very, 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 very spiritually motivated. You know, I look at life from the top down, right? Like the spirit, the soul, the body. So the things of the body are like the least of my concerns, right? And you could see that from the lifestyle that I've had. living minimally, right? Not doing a whole lot of luxurious, but definitely seeking experiences that are going to exalt or expand my mind, my capacity to reach people and to serve. And I was listening to or introduced to Tony Gaskins. If you've heard of him, he's an author. I'll send you over a link. But somebody shared with me, Tony Gaskins, husband 12 years, father 2 boys, author, celebrity life coach, intercontinental speaker. And I hadn't even heard of him before. I hadn't heard of him. Actually, let me screen share real quick. And there was something that he said in the video. Shout out to Tony Gaskins. All right. So, that's just a little bit of his bio information on them. But built a brand from scratch. 22 became an author. 23 became a husband, father. 25 started his first company, Soul Writers LLC. 25 also got himself on globally televised shows to tell a portion of his story, right? And you can learn more, read more about him. There's a video though where he introduces himself, his bio, and I would definitely encourage you guys check this out. But as I was listening to it, he said something that really, really stood out to me and resonated with me as an individual. And it was that he spent time in a lot of different areas, a master of all trades, and you've heard that before. A jack of all trades, master of none. And he shifted that conversation to him being a jack of all trades and a master of service, right? Being able to serve in a variety of different arenas to be able to help serve people. And to me, man, that resonated so much with me because the whole master of none thing is one of those things that people have said, one of those cliches that have been shared over time. Like, if you don't master something, your value is distributed, dispersed, and you don't really become, the greatest version of yourself. But to recognize, man, in seeing and experiencing life from so many different perspectives and learning how, these skills transfer to this space, to that space, to that space, to that space. In my journey, it's helped me to create a purposeful plan and path and future forward that I know that my mission is in service to the people, or even on a deeper level is kingdom building, right? Like I am completely sold out to the idea that, man, what I created, what Allah has for us, we will have on earth. Like I am sold out on the idea of having and living in heaven on earth. Sold out. You can't tell me it's not real. You could not tell me because I've seen too much evidence of what it looks like, what it feels like. And as I know we teach in our Quran, man, when hope and love are back in toil and all of life is filled with joy and peace, and this is heaven, right? So for me, joy and peace, if I'm experiencing that in my life and I'm experiencing it regularly, I'm in heaven, right? Joy and peace. So I walk into, a home or a space and I'm having joy and I have peace. And this climate has helped me to cultivate, if nothing else, a cell, right? And cells multiply. When you feed them and you nurture them and treat them, cells naturally multiply. So even if it's in a small room where I'm building that joy and peace, and now being able to reach other people across the globe and across the country where they can begin to create their own cell of joy and peace, right? That kingdom of joy and peace can continue to multiply day after day, year after year. And as Majida talks about, when building your foundations is compounding it for the next generation. We could talk about that in the future. So for me, like my life is sold out to kingdom building, is to introducing people to the peace, the freedom, the joy, the happiness, everything they can have by putting hope behind the work that they do. And I think that's a major shift. Is people seeing, man, if I put some hope behind doing something for me, right, instead of turning over my life plan to somebody else. And I was sharing this with somebody earlier this week. You go to a job that pays you 5 figures, they can give you a 5-figure dream, but that's all they can give you unless you do something more with it. Oh, maybe they'll upgrade you. You can go to school, get a 6-figure dream from a 6-figure job that you don't own. Now it may be a little different from you, Mark, because you've owned your profession. You just shifted to a place where you have even more ownership. And there are tons of trades and professions where individuals can be the owners in their space and create whatever lifestyle that they want. But a lot of people have turned over their dream and their lifestyle to someone else. They lived the life, man. They followed somebody else's plan on how they got educated, where to live, how to live, what car to drive, what kind of family to have, or even to have a family when, and subscribe to all of these things. Yes, there's a lot of scientific evidence, but it gets mixed in with a lot of hearsay and, what people think they should do and what's mob mentality. So it can get really messy. But I think this past year has really showed a lot of us that if you have something that you want, you're the one who's responsible to make it happen. And if you say, man, I want to make $1 million, but you turn over your dream to somebody who's only going to give you a 6-figure, like you've got to do more than what they give you in order to make it happen. Wouldn't you agree? So for me, that's what the shift has been. Is the new foundation is a purpose to show more people about the life that they can have, that's in them, that's built, as long as they show up and work toward that life with hope, with love, and do it accountably. And they see day to day that life becomes their reality because they're conditioning themselves to do the work that serves them, their vision, their mission, their purpose. And to me, man, I can spend the rest of my life doing that. Right. So that kind of shifts the conversation to futures. For those that are just tuning in, welcome. It is 10 p.m. here on the East Coast. This is the Seer Mastermind Group, Mastermind Group for creative entrepreneurs, where we encourage, support, hold them accountable, and help them recognize their achievements. Here with my co-hosts and co-founders of the Seer Mastermind Group, Helpful Trucker Maurice Bay, Majida Bay, your financial conductor, and me, Coach Bo Bay World, your lifestyle fulfillment engineer, the LFE, the life coach, and habit coach and accountability coach. In tonight's conversation, we're talking about what are you building on? What are the foundations for your life, lifestyle, futures, and your dreams? So let's shift the conversation. Let's say for this half hour that we're still here. Majida, I would like to hear about what's the future that you're building on, the foundations that you're setting in place. What do you imagine that future? What is that looking like? And we kind of had this conversation before, but I feel like all of us have recently made some significant shifts about what the future is going to look like. So I'd love to hear a story update.
I would say the biggest thing for me is setting a foundation for my children and those who have the privilege to influence, to live life with purpose, on purpose, for a purpose, right? Like it's purpose-filled living. Or I think there's a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. I think helping them to discover their natural gifts and talents and cultivating those is inherent to inherent to the future that I want for them. I want them to know themselves first and foremost and their creator and be in tune with their own voice. Yes. What do you want?
Why?
Yeah, be in tune with their own voice so that they hear that still small voice that speaks within, right? They don't get drowned out by the voices of others and society's expectations or family's expectations. Really just to know yourself, man. I think that is pivotal in becoming right? I shared with somebody a few days ago that a message that I heard from Tim Grover, where he talked about we're human beings, not human doings.
Mm. Nzinga, she can't hear me.
No.
Hey, no.
So just learning how to be, not do stuff to please other people, not meet other people's expectations, but just to be who you are. I think that's the foundation for the future.
And here's a question just to piggyback on that subject that I've asked people before on that very same quote. This is going to sound like a weird question. How do you be?
That's it.
What?
How do you be?
Let's go swim.
You said, and I'm with you on this one, and I already know what the answer is going to be probably. We're not human beings. Or excuse me, we're not human doings, we're human beings. So we want to just be. So the question is, okay, so I could say, how do you do? But how do you be?
Ooh, I like that one. I like
Right?
that question, actually.
Something
I like that
to think
question.
about.
That's a nice philosophical question for the academic professor over here. No. Yeah, I'll take that one first. How do you be?
And I already know the answer.
Oh, you do?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
he's gonna say the answer is you have to do.
No, I'm not gonna say that. No, the answer is you be. You just be. You just be. You just be it. It's like a deer being a deer. It's not trying to be a deer. It's not proclaiming it's a deer. It's not thinking about being a deer. It's just being a deer. Just be.
So I'm gonna shift your question because I feel like we would have got to that answer as well. That how do you be? You just be. Well, how do you just be? Like, what is it? What is a human being? What is being human? I think would definitely give us an opportunity to explore what does that look like? What is being human? And I think about this actually daily. I absolutely do because I take a lot of inspiration from nature. So like you said, a deer. You know, my friend, she was joking to me for the last week. We met and I'm sitting in the yard under a tree. And it was the third time in the day that I encountered a spider. I like telling stories. It was the third time of the day that I had encountered a spider. And this was significant for me because in the previous year, you know, I came to a point where I kind of retracted from society, right? I went into my own cocoon or space like a spider in the night. I was like, I'm going to weave my web and you may not see me while I'm creating it. But when you wake up and walk out the front door, you'll know I was there, right? Mm-hmm. Like a web. And I saw 3 spiders in the same day. Once when I was out helping my grandmother put some plants in her yard. After I finished doing it, I walked up to a tree and another spider was like hanging from a hat. And then I went and sat out in the yard and literally it was just a spider, little baby spider crawling on me. And I see myself as like one with nature now. Like I'm not afraid of bugs and bees and all. Like those are my brothers and sisters. They are simply being the way I see. Like so, when I see them, they just being because I'm out here, they're out here. Like we interact. Yeah, it's a whole vibe. It is totally a whole vibe. Like I am on some nature boy stuff for real. And so when I think about myself in that space, like I think of myself the same way as I think of a molecule of air or an atom of water, right? Like I am a human in this huge ecosystem of things that are flowing. And as I live, hey baby, as I live according to what my instincts are, what my impulses, what my hey, we're given a brain to reason to be able to make decisions to choose our path. So given the freedom to choose, every day I have a choice to follow the divine instructions as I come into awareness of myself, right? And I think it really goes back to what my Jesus says, knowing yourself. Like what is being human? Like you need to study what is that? Like what is the makeup of a human, right? Yes, we have a body, but what else, right? Science says, well, we got a brain and a mind that does some things. Okay, what else? Well, there's also this other thing that informs all of the other things at play, like this spirit, this energy, this force. Like, what is that? And what are the attributes of that, right? You know, we've got chapters that, again, in our doctrine, the soul of man and the creation and fall of man, that gives inspiration on, like, what is being human? And I study those to understand, like, what does it look like for me to flow in all of this ecosystem? That everywhere I go, when I follow the divine instructions that are sent to me daily, like I wake up and I like empty my mind, I empty my cup. Where do you need me to be today, Father? Oh, I see 3 spiders. Okay, we working on a new master plan, like what you informed me of the previous year. You know, am I listening and hearing and sensing with all my senses? I'm not just relying on my eyes, but listening to my ears and my environment. You know, to me, being human is being in tune, being in harmony with everything else that's going around them, but also recognizing that we have, and I'm going hot, but recognize that we've been gifted with the power of dominion over everything here. Like, we get to make the decisions about what I could have killed that spider, right? But my doctor says, man, that's my brother. I wouldn't, you know, and I'd shake the throne of God by killing him. So, hey, I'm gonna let that spider be, you know, blow him off, go be about your business. Because I wouldn't want somebody to strike me down that way if they saw me as an, you know what I'm saying? So being human is like understanding our responsibility and duty and dominion to govern what we've been gifted with. I'm gonna stop there because I could go, you know, I give a whole sermon tonight. But I like that question. What is being human? I want to hear from you guys. What is being human to you all? That being a future in your foundation. Y'all just got a master class.
I guess being human is a lot of things, but being human is making things manifest. That's one degree of it. I mean, that's the degree that I'm going to harp on. Yes, the degree that I'm going to harp on. You know what I mean? But
can you type
yeah,
that question in the chat, Majidi? We'd love to get some feedback from those that are tuning in. Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, following along, we appreciate you asking the question. What is being human to you as part of your foundations of future? Go ahead, Maurice.
That was it. That was it. Manifesting. That was it. I mean, I could elaborate, and I guess I probably should, but I mean, thinking and creating, being in an environment that inspires you to think and to create is what it is. That's the essence to me of what it is to be human, to be in an environment that inspires you to think and create.
That's significant. That's significant. And I'm gonna let Majida answer, but I want to come back to that because it's definitely important to critically look at what's not thinking and creating. If that's what being human is, what's not being human, and how are we acting or living against ourselves or going against our nature?
I don't think you have the ability to not think and not create.
Ooh.
You can't turn that off.
Ooh. Go ahead, Gita.
You may not be able to turn it off, but you can be programmed not to utilize it.
Ooh.
And
you can be programmed to not think. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Critical thinking is not inherent.
Yeah.
Inherent.
It's not. I promise.
I don't know. You know,
if you must be developed by the exercise of strength.
Exactly.
It's not automatic, man.
No. Well. I mean, I would push back against that because I mean, you can say a person isn't thinking because they're watching TV all day or because they're allowing themselves to be programmed or whatever. But you're still, you can't you can't turn your mind off. You can't turn your mind off. You can't stop thinking, just like you can't stop thinking. Even if you think, should I listen to this person? Yes, I should. I should let them infiltrate my mind. That is you can't stop thinking. And the proof that you can't stop thinking is thought is what the starting point of creation is. That is the proof that you can't stop thinking.
Mhm.
That's just my personal opinion. I ain't
Well,
saying that's fact.
what
But
you said earlier when you talked about as a man, you like being able to produce, to work. Is it's possible, and we've talked about this before on this show. There are people who don't produce; they consume,
okay.
and so yes, you can say that the act of consuming requires thinking, but it's not producing. And so
Or
when I
creating. Well, it's
yeah,
creating problems. It's what it's
I
creating.
disagree. I disagree with that. I get the point that you're making. I think I get the point that you're making, and I don't want to cut you off, but
Let's fuss about
I
it.
disagree with that. And here's one of the reasons why I say, because my understanding of it is like even it's all in the ebb and flow of things. Like you need one to have the other. One does not exist without the other. Like everywhere we look, and that's what's interesting about going back to being human. Like we're like right now in this physical space, if you notice, everything is presented to us in duality. Like you got Republicans and Democrats, you got love and you got hate, you got Africa, you got Christianity and you got Islam, you got Coke and you got Pepsi, you got Kirby and you got Rainbow, you got Ford and you got Chevy. This is this duality, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, as long as you have to make that forces you to make a choice. Choice is thinking. So whether you choose the easy route or the hard route, you're still thinking. You may not be doing the thinking that some people think you should do. And watch this. Isn't it being in an unwanted situation that inspires you to think yourself into a wanted situation? So
I'll
I
give
mean,
you
Don't you
an
love his
example.
perspectives?
Yeah, I do. That was wonderful. That was beautiful how you laid that out.
it's beautiful.
I'm gonna push back on that in reference to this past year. There was one narrative that everybody was expected to accept, and no one was willing to hear the alternative. There was no duality in that conversation. Everybody was being told what to think, not how to think. And if you questioned or challenged the popular narrative, you were scorned or shamed or whatever, right? Like censored. So that's the part that I'm speaking of. That's the part that's dangerous, because somebody benefits when you don't think, right? I talk about it in finance. Somebody benefits when you're financially illiterate. So I'm not going to teach you how to think about money or how to manage money, because I benefit when you don't think, when you just react, when you do what I expect you to do.
Oh, I get it.
Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, go work for somebody else to pay off all of the debt that you incurred when you went to school, and stay in that for the rest of your life, and stay in debt for the rest of your life, so that I can build wealth, right? Like that's the real narrative. It's not promoted that way, but that's one narrative that a lot of people are conditioned into or fall into due to a lack of education, due to a lack of information or guidance of being taught how to think, right? I've shared on the live stream I do with John, we talk about that. Like he speaks all the time about with his daughter, he teaches her how to think, not what to think. And growing up, that was something that our father reiterated a lot. What in the world is that your son?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is my son. Yeah.
One of the things our father, used to teach us growing up was like, don't accept what somebody tells you, right? It says it in our literature as well, that men love to follow, not to lead, right? But a block of wood can do the same. Like, I don't need somebody to point the way and not go. I need them to show me the way. And so being in a position to you can analyze and choose for yourself. I like the idea of having duality because you have choice. But unfortunately, in the society that we live in the world we live in, even, there's not always duality presented. It's presented in
Mm.
doctrine, it's presented in our doctrine, right? You know, you teach him obedience and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty and he shall not be ashamed. So you know what the alternative is if you choose to do the opposite, right? The holy unity of the rich and the poor. You can choose which one and you know what the consequences are. But if the narrative is encouraging and promoting that you be poor, you don't know what rich is if you don't have something else to inform you. So yes, we have the brain, the mind has the capacity to think. But if you're not taught how to think, you'll accept, you'll settle. You will not, as I think my brother shared this with me or pointed this out some years ago, that the attributes of the lower self is when you accept, you just accept. How does it go?
What you're teaching?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
represents the lower self? Those who cast out and those who accept their teaching.
yeah,
Accept their teaching.
So
And-
right, but like, and I think part of teaching is, all right, yes, there you could be a student and there's a teacher, but part of learning, right, not teach, part of learning is challenging and questioning, and it's coming up with the answer yourself. It's not being given the answer. It's not being told the answer. And so I think thinking is not as commonplace or is not as, like I said, this past year is evidence of it. I've talked with John about it on several occasions that like it was mind blowing to me how most people just laid down and accepted what the government and the World Health Organization and the CDC told them to believe.
Here's a question for you. I guess kind of come at it from the back angle. If people aren't thinking, and I agree with what you're saying, by the way, but if people aren't thinking, how are they manifesting?
So
like these same individuals that you would categorize as people that aren't thinking, if something things are showing up in their lives every day.
Mm-hmm.
If things are showing up in their lives and their thinking didn't bring it to them, how did those things show up in their life if they're not thinking?
I'm gonna take a different route with that. So there are two things in this life. One is truth, the other is falsehood. And falsehood is that which seems to be, as our teaching shares. So what does that mean to those that are listening? I don't agree with the idea that people aren't thinking. Actually, I agree with you, Maurice, that everybody is given and gifted the power to think. However, how to think, as Majid pointed out, how to discern truth from falsehood is not being taught.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
That is what creates this binary. That's what creates the dichotomy. If everybody was tuned in to truth, you'd see a lot more unity. You see a lot more harmony.
No, if everybody was tuned into truth, the world don't work like that. The world don't work like that. Never.
You didn't even give it a chance. You did not even give it a chance. Let me finish the thought. Hold on.
Okay,
I'm speaking idealistically.
Mm-hmm.
Let me qualify it. I'm speaking idealistically. But simply imagine what's a truth that you know? You know that let's say the earth turns.
Okay.
Right. We have enough evidence. The earth is turning. It's not sitting still in space. It's not stuff moving around. You don't know what you don't know, Daniel. That's right. Right. The earth. So we can all agree that the earth's turned, but guess what? There's still people out there, man. We on a flat planet. Some people out there who still believe we are on a flat earth.
And you would say that means they're not thinking because they have come to that conclusion?
I'm saying they are living in a falsehood.
Well, I can appreciate you taking that position with a person. Me personally, I can't take that position with a person.
Okay.
I can't tell another person when I get what you're saying when you say that how to discern is not being, that may not be what's being taught mainstream, but I don't think you can say because how to discern isn't being taught mainstream that people have turned their brains off. I mean, again, you got to ask.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not turning their brains off, but they're not tuned to the frequency of truth. And here's because we have discord, because we have this. When you look at,
I can't make that. I just can't make that call.
Let me. So I was listening to Sean Stevenson on the My Health Show the other day, and he was interviewing another colleague or whatever, and they don't just talk about health, right? They talk about some of what we're talking about right now, how scientific evidence can be presented about certain things, but if that doesn't support the narrative that society or the government wants to promote,
they'll deny the science.
They'll deny the science. They'll ignore it, right? It won't, right? And so that's the part that I think Bakar is speaking to in terms of truth, right? And this is something that he shared as well. I think another podcast is that it's efficient to accept the
the brain don't want to work.
Right. It's efficient to.
I don't want more. I want to relax.
Yeah,
I want to live in a space where I just want to do what naturally comes, and the least I can do, the happier I am. Is how the brain works. So you got to make it. You got to put it to work.
And so he said that it's efficient. It's efficient to accept. She tired. What experts say, right? It's efficient, right? This person has studied this body of knowledge, and instead of me having to spend the time that they spent, or hold on, lost my connection. Sorry, lost my connection. Instead of investing the time that they invested, I'm good. Thank you. Instead of investing the time they invested to learn that body of knowledge, you accept that knowledge from that expert. But what happens when you can't trust the expert? You got to know and study for yourself, right? You have to be able to discern whether what's being shared by the so-called expert. You helped me. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's what we had to fix it. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. All better. Yes. Better. Okay. Yeah. We have to be able to discern whether what's being shared by the expert, and it should be encouraged to question, right? That's really what science is. It's a hypothesis, and then you have observation, and then there's evidence, and the evidence can be challenged. And I think we've gotten into a world, and there's even a book called, actually downloaded it because I heard them mention it on the show, about, and this is the other part, there's enough evidence to show that, like, what we see on television may or may not be true. And most often it's not. It's called Hate Inc. And the subtitle of it is, wait a minute. Don't lay down.
I love where this is going, Majid, because it does, like I said, I'm gonna bring it back to the theme of the night. And what are you building on your foundation on? Is it a foundation of truth, or is it a foundation of untruth? Right? Is your future? You know, the world told us before that we needed to be in a space, on a job, doing a certain thing in order to, show our value and be successful. And then the truth came out and was like, not necessarily.
Times change.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the book is called Hate Inc. And it says why today's media makes us despise one another. Like, we gotta realize that some things are done intentionally in order to promote a certain way of thinking. It's not promoting to challenge thinking. It's, the people that challenge the status quo are the people who can become wealthy, right? Or the people who change the world, right? They challenge the popular narrative. They challenge the way things are being taught.
Well,
And so-
understand something. I didn't say that we were smart as people. I didn't say that we always think intelligently. I just said that we can't turn off our ability to think.
However, we
That's-
can dull it. We can dull
not
the
to
crap
think.
out of it. We
can absolutely choose not to
use
think.
it.
I could say
That's-
I would say it another way. I would say we can choose to focus on the wrong things. Sister Clotilde said something to me that was really profound one time. I can't remember what I was actually talking to her about. I really can't remember what the subject matter was, but I was telling her that my will was weak because I couldn't stop. And she was saying, nah, that means your will is strong because you won't stop. You understand? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Like you can say, yo, you're not thinking because you won't stop. She didn't describe it that way. She, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's what's holding you there. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got to factor in perspective, man. You got to factor in perspective. And you also have to factor in the impetus, what causes a person to come to a certain point to get to these points that you're saying, like you don't recognize, and that's, I guess that's what I'm thinking about when you said, Bakar, imagine if everybody was at this certain point. It's almost like saying if every day was a sunny day. I would say that a sunny day would have no value if every day was a sunny day. Yeah, I mean, notice that the world ain't made like that. Like they're back to that duality thing. You gotta have both, you know.
And I'm gonna step back from what I said because I did use the absolute all as opposed to most or more. What if more people were tuned into truth, right? And that's an ongoing process of discovery, right? That I'll be honest, I let go a whole lot of untruths this past year, a lot of untruths, and tuned into the inner voice that knows way more than anything outside of me, right? And tuned into the inner voices inside them that communicate to the inner voice in me, right? Why do I know? And this is why do I know? And I say no as in like through experiential learning. Why do I know to listen to that inner voice over anything else? As my compass to truth.
The same way the deer knows.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you wouldn't consider him, and he don't have to.
And he don't have to know. Think though.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to think to know, right? But there's that's one of the
that is a state of being.
That is the beautiful challenge that we have as humans, being and in being human, right? Is recognizing what is it that informs us, and is what is informing us truth or not?
Ain't but one source. That's the answer to that question. Ain't but one source.
Oh, so you got all the answers tonight. I love it.
I'm just listening to what you're saying. Ain't but one source. I've had this discussion before, and in my opinion, ain't but one teacher because it ain't but one source.
Yeah. But does everybody also believe that?
Like who you believe in, if you believe is another source. Who do you believe in?
No, that's good. And it's like saying all of the bodies of water on the planet are connected. It's like, well, no, I drink from this river and you drink from that and they don't touch. Yeah, but if you don't understand the cycle of the ecosystem and how water recycles all over the planet, like it's all one body. Even if it's in vapor form, it's still all one body of water, right?
And so you would have to apply that same logic to the question that you just now said.
But that's what
you're
I'm talking
always
about.
Being taught by the one source.
That's
you're never. People say that all the time. I'm being hit with information from this side, and being hit with. No, you ain't. No, you're not. It's only one source of information. I mean, you got to think about that if you call yourself a religious person. We don't want to get into all that too much. But
no, what you just say though? You have to think about it. So, like, there's this passive thinking, and there's active thinking. There's passive thinking, like just whatever floods into my brain, I go with. I react. But then there's active thinking. It's challenging those impulses and reactions and being able to choose a path forward, right? Based on a critical evaluation or assessment, or again, what resonates.
I think, what resonates with you. And to Maurice's point, Art, if you're saying that there's source, that one source is in each and every one of us. And so until we recognize that within ourselves, we can get distracted by listening to the voices of others, but we're looking outside of ourselves to tune into our own voice. We're trying to find the voice that speaks to what's in us, who we are. And so
we didn't got way off today, but I'm gonna tie it back to the
we always get way off.
What are we talking about tonight? We are talking about, yes, we are entrepreneurs. We are the Seer Mastermind Group. We are here to support, encourage, hold accountable, and recognize the achievements of other creative entrepreneurs along with ourselves. We're sharing our stories, our journeys, our ways. And tonight we're talking about what are you building on? But I think this is a great conversation because it shifted to a conversation on the self, which is, I think, what we often come back to. Everything that you are, everything that you desire, everything that you become, it is about intrinsically what you identify and recognize is in you and want to, as Maurice talked about, in being human, manifest. Yo, I'm so good at this. just tying it all together. I love those kind of moments, right? How we're building a foundation on the self. Who are you? How do you determine the world and the life that you're living in? How do you discern truth from falsehood, right? How do you tune into the one source that informs everything? And if you're not aware of that one source, what is informing you about the world around you? If you're not tuned into the voice of that source, right? Because you have to acknowledge, okay, so even if that one source informs everything, even the falsehood, how do you build on that, right?
If falsehood you tell has purpose.
Right, and we've had that conversation when we were talking about success a couple of weeks ago. Like, what is success? Well, it's the outcomes. It's not good or bad. It's simply the outcome is a success, right? Reaching an outcome is a success. So it is. I love it. You know, some people like to call it the devil's advocate.
Don't have to be a good outcome. Don't have to be a positive outcome. Don't have to be an outcome that nobody else say, hey, he got a good outcome from that. It don't have to be an outcome that you're proud of. It don't have to be what's desired, just an outcome. That actually adds a lot to this discussion, actually.
Right? That the foundations that you're building on is in, like I said, doing and being and doing, right? Learning, growing, expanding, accepting, challenging. All of that is part of being human. All of that is humans being. And, you know, you can look at your life and say, man, if you're dissatisfied with it, well, you can choose to be dissatisfied with it and settle and stay in dissatisfaction, or you can, thank you, Danielle, for the assist, learn from it, apply something different, and be something different and get a different outcome, right? But I love it. You know, we could talk about material things, but ultimately it always comes back to the self, right? That's why this is our story, our journey, our way. We are showing and sharing ourselves with you to let you know, man, this journey of an entrepreneur is a decision. It's simply for
journey of self-discovery.
Oh man, it's whatever you want it to be for you. Mm-hmm. However large you see it, however small you see it, whether it's for you or not for you. Hey, we're here to show you another side of the human journey, right? And if you like it, tune in. We've got resources, we've got connections, we've got assets, we've got programs and services, right? And at the same time, hey, we've got great conversation as well. If you just like a good conversation, you can join us every other week live on the Seer Mastermind Show at 9 p.m. Eastern, here with Maurice Bay, Majida Bay, and your MC, Bakar Bay. The HT, the FC, and the LFE, helpful trucker, financial conductor, and lifestyle fulfillment engineer. I love having these conversations with you all. That was kind of my wrap up. I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah.
That was a wrap up.
It's kind of hard to drop off like that, but yeah, just I don't know what you want to call this, but I am working towards pivoting a little bit. So I'll be not only your financial conductor, I'll be your project coordinator.
Hey, okay. Yeah. Hey, look, being another kind of human, huh?
Yeah, just being,
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, man, we're going into the summer. Two things I just want to shout out tomorrow. Let's celebrate Independence for all in this country. We're happy Juneteenth, right? If you don't know what Juneteenth is, we have Google. We are not responsible anymore for educating you on the things that you're going to need to know about the new future, okay? You are responsible from here forward. So when you hear Juneteenth and don't know what Juneteenth is, go figure it out. Figure it out. That's a figure it out. We're not carrying that load anymore. And I'm speaking for the whole nation. We're not doing it anymore. It's a public service announcement. We're not doing it anymore. All right. And of course, what usually gets overshadowed, I want to shout out all of the fathers around the globe. Maurice Bay, happy Father's Day to you.
100%. Appreciate you, bro.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Go ahead, make room in your drawers for those new socks. and enjoy the time being moderately appreciated or greatly appreciated.
You cracking jokes, you'll have your day.
I know.
Your day is coming. Your day is coming. Your new socks is coming. Your lack of appreciation is coming. All of that.
Hey, don't speak that over my life. I will be celebrated as a great father. I'm
happy
already
father to our father.
No, really, I don't. Yes, yeah, thank you. Look, I'm about to mess up already. Happy father to all the fathers in our legacy. Thank you. I'm speaking to you from here and beyond. Thank you. Thank you for being the men that you are. Thank you for being the men that you are. We do greatly and deeply appreciate for all the foundations that you've set us up for to be able to build on. So now I am immensely grateful for the fathers. We shall not mention their counterparts. They had their day. This is the day for the fathers.
I like that.
This is the day for the fathers.
They already get the whole section in the department store. They don't need Father's Day as well. Okay, straight up. You got to get that. You walk in the average department store, like the woman got the whole store, like men got that corner.
So if you haven't had yourself an outstanding father or father figure in your life, go visit a men's store this weekend. Pick up something that is more than just a new pair of Argyles. Find him a nice suit or tool or
get that man a tool.
Get that man a tool, right?
That man a tool.
If he's over the age of 40, get him a tool.
You need to get the ones under 40 tools. They need to learn how to use them.
Get that man a
generation
tool.
Is going to be.
Get that man a tool or help him with his.
Right. Get him counseling, right? Like let him go talk to a therapist so he can open up and connect with his emotions, right? He might not go far. No, you should get me for that. I don't want to talk. I pray again for more men to invest in their mental health. Fathers, we appreciate you. You are not the butt of jokes, but also the foundations of our society. You are a foundation of stars. We need you. We appreciate you. And I wouldn't be the person I am today without my father and your fathers as well. So thank you. Thank you, great men, for being great men and models. for the rest of us.
And
We
I
are out
challenge you to be
to hold your brothers accountable to be better.
yes,
fathers.
mentor these young
Hey, mentors.
yeah.
I like that. Be a mentor for men. Why? Shout out the bottle. Shout out the bottle. Hey, look, y'all just cut me off whenever you want. I'm having a good time. Hey, welcome, Yvette, Danielle. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the replays on the Seer Mastermind group on YouTube. We are growing steadily. And you know what? If you would like to donate so that we can keep doing this, Maurice, can you set up a donation page?
Yeah, cash tag Maurice Bay 7.
Throw the cash tag Maurice Bay 7 Bobey World BOBEYWORLD. Listen, we are giving this time. Man, this is free content. Come get it. But help us to keep doing it, because I know that for each of us.
Unless you're getting paid for your time, don't neither one of y'all pay for the StreamYard subscription. So I don't want to hear.
So let us help Majida. We'll put your cash tag out there.
No money, no.
We're asking for you.
No.
So that we can contribute to the cause. Because if Majida decides to no longer do this, one of us will have to continue, and we'll take donations. We love it. We
Not
love
that serious.
It is that serious.
No, it's not.
It is that serious.
Hey, we just talked here about, you say human being. I know that when you serve, you earn in direct proportion to the service you provide. So I don't have to worry about money. The money gonna come to me. What are you saying, Maurice? Oh, he on the phone.
Yes, well, I'm simply going to open up the door to the grocery store and the bank so that they can make those deposits. Okay? If you don't open the doors, they will not come on their own.
Y'all get like the children when y'all get tired. It's late. Y'all need to go to bed.
You can't treat us like that on Father's Day weekend.
You're not even a father, dude.
I've been the father. You know how many children that they've claimed that were mine? They look like me. They are your children are my children. I am their father / uncle. I do need to go to bed, man. Why are we still live? Cut us off. Cut me off.
Y'all have a good night, because you don't have an outro, bro.
That is my outro.
No,
I closed it out.
not. What?
I said this is the Seer This is the Seer show. We did the story. Join us. Blah blah blah.
Okay. All right. Y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.